Here, we are logged into live streaming on Zoom. We have on YouTube from Zoom. We're sharing our agenda, which we have paper copies of it. Ready when you are.
All right, let's call the order and take roll and verify a quorum.
Okay, today is a full membership meeting, so we need a quorum of 13 today. So when I call your name, please let me know that you are here, or if you're a representative, I don't think we have any alternates besides Jimmy. Okay. Alice Langdon Sloan, or anyone with the Cotto Prize? Emma Archer. Here. Ashley Hathaway? Or anyone with RCHDC? Brady North.
Here.
Dan McIntyre, or anyone with North Coast Opportunity. Denise Gordy is trying to connect to audio. I didn't get advance requests to participate by Zoom with her, so we'll have to wait till we can talk to her. Diana Billy Elliott, or anyone with Indigenous Wellness Alliance. John Dam. Jimmy Pineda.
Here.
Grace Peeler. Here. Welcome. Jackie Williams. Here. Janie Smith. Or anyone with Willett Shelter Advisory Group.
Action group.
Action Group.
Should be.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Not formally.
Jennifer Hill. Or anyone with Geo Group. Sage Wolf. Hi. No Joanne, right? No. Joanna Olson. Here. Judy Albert. Here. Camille Leggett. Karen Lovato. Jennifer Thompson, or anyone that's not me or Megan or my team with socials with Mendocino County. Kate Mather. Matt McMillan, or anyone with Nation's Finest. Melissa Johnson. Here. Noemi Guerrero. Or anyone with Mendocino Community Health Clinics. We just had Janie Smith with Willett's Shelter Action Group join us. Hi, Janie. I'm going to mark you as present for the quorum. Paul Davis.
Yeah.
Reese Martinez. Cia Beecher, or anyone with Northern Circle Indian Housing Authority. Teresa DeSimone. Here. We are one short of our quorum. We have to have 13 and we have 12. Denise, hi Denise. I didn't get advance notice from you that you wouldn't be here in person. Can you share with the group why you're choosing to be remote today? Frozen. Denise, can you hear us? That's me.
Hey, Veronica, can you check your math again? Like, I feel like I counted 14. No, 13.
Yeah. No. Yeah, with Denise it does, but we have to figure that out.
Oh, okay.
Denise doesn't count until we talk to her. Just brought about 4, 5, 6, 7. The county doesn't count? No.
I don't.
Sure, I don't get that.
I don't represent Beaver Buff, but I'm not, no.
But we can't risk letting her vote.
Denise, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. I have an unstable internet, sorry.
I didn't get advance notice from you that you wouldn't be here in person. For the Brown Act, we have to make sure it's an acceptable reason. Can you share why you're not here in person today?
Yes, I'm really sorry, but I slipped and hurt my back on a garden hose this morning. Otherwise, I would be there.
So that's for a medical purpose.
Yes, thank you.
We have to take a vote, if that's okay. I know we've had to do this before. That's acceptable to vote. Thank you, the Brown Act. Right. Is anyone against
Good
her intent? Okay, I'm gonna just say that everyone is okay with it. We'll count to me. So, thank you, guys. We have a quorum.
Enter.
Okay, go ahead.
Comment, we welcome public comment on agendas, items. Does anyone have any public comment?
Go ahead.
Hi, I'll introduce myself. My name's Jamie Delson. I'm here and in the community to see if I can gain your concept support and assistance in any other way for the establishment of a permanent tiny house and cottage village. When I say permanent, I mean permanent for the villagers so that they can live there forever, with gardens and workshops, etc. And I'd like to see that happen, and I'd like to see the COC find it to be a good course of action and that they would support it as a good concept. I would love to see that move through this body, and so I'm here today to foster that in any way I can. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
I received advanced written comment that I will read now. Good morning, afternoon, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Bithia Sherman. I come to you before you as a mother, a retired nurse, and an advocate for my son. I'm not going to read his name, even though it's in just for public, and you'll understand. Over the past several months, I have spoken with more than 100 public agencies, housing providers, nonprofit organizations, behavioral health professionals, and community advocates throughout California. I met dedicated people who genuinely wanted to help. The people were never the problem. The challenge was finding housing that was compatible with my son's disability. Our request is not for special treatment. Our request is for housing that is compatible with our son's disability so that he has the same opportunity as every other person to live safely, independently, and with dignity. We are not asking any one department or organization to solve this challenge alone. We are inviting you into partnership. Our family will contribute advocacy, coordination, practical support, and long-term commitment. We ask each partner only to contribute what they do best. Our immediate goal is a safe, legal, disability-compatible location where our son can temporarily park and live in a motorhome our family is preparing while we work together toward a permanent home. Motorhome is not the permanent solution. It is the bridge. The ultimate goal of this initiative is not simply for Victor to have a house. Oh, sorry, guys, just read it. Son to have a house. It is for him to have the opportunity to live his life on his own terms, within the realities of his disability and with the same aspirations shared by every person: safety, stability, dignity, autonomy, hope, purpose, and the opportunity to contribute according to his abilities. Thank you for your time, your service, and for considering this invitation to partnership. Also submitted with comment were an initiative proposal that with quite a bit of detail and information. I'm going to bring up later in the meeting when we get to our committees, discuss if there's a committee that wants to reach out to this person or how we want to move forward with that. But that's the public comment I received.
There's no other public comment. We'll move on to the approval of minutes. These are for January 12th, 2026. Ready if we could get a motion.
To approve the meeting notes of January 12th.
Thank you, Judy. I'll second. Thank you, Amanda.
Any corrections or discussion about the minutes? Take the vote.
When I call your name, please say yes, no, or abstain to approving the minutes. Amanda.
Yes.
Brady.
Yes.
Denise.
You're muted.
Yes.
Jimmy.
Yes.
Grace.
Yes.
Jackie.
Abstain.
Janie.
Yes.
Sage.
Yes.
Abstain. Abstain. Okay, hold on. Joanna.
Abstain.
Judy.
Yes.
Melissa. Abstain. Teresa.
Yes.
Motion approved.
And now, we're gonna move on to announcements. Are there any announcements? Okay, it's got an announcement. We're gonna move on to reports and presentations, starting with updates from local jurisdictions. Mendocino County, Megan.
Okay, so, I had two somewhat related, but not exactly related, updates to share. So the first one, I wanted to continue to keep the board updated on kind of long, slow closeout of our homeless outreach project. If you remember, not last meeting, but the meeting before, I included I was calling it a white paper. I keep wanting to call it a white paper, but a white paper in the board packet about the kind of ending of our 6-year homeless outreach project and what our conclusions were and what our next steps were. Since that time, I have been working on, so if you remember, you probably don't remember the details, so I'll share them briefly. Our homeless outreach team is no longer in the field providing homeless outreach. We did a deep dive in the clients that we'd had 3 or more encounters with in the previous 6 months to do what I was calling like a hot handoff, more than a warm handoff, like a hot handoff to the place where it felt like we should be picking up that need. And of those like 40 or so clients, some of them really, there was just no logical, like our outreach team couldn't really figure out where they logically, where it was gonna go. Maybe they were gonna resolve problems or something, or they were already pretty well connected. And then there was like 25 to 30 that felt like their primary issues were either substance use or severe mental illness or both. Of those, we kind of condensed it down to about 10 that our team wanted to experiment the care court process with. So I wasted a lot of time trying to find a behavioral health provider that felt comfortable kind of verifying the behavioral health status of these individuals. I fell short there. But I went ahead and decided I'm doing this anyway. So I condensed it down to 3 that everybody agreed were individuals who'd been on our streets for a very long time, not thriving, not making progress, not connected to any homelessness service provider. So I really checked with that as well. I decided to go ahead and submit care court petitions for anyway. Right before I submitted those care court petitions, I found out that one of them, who's been a super high needs client, super complex, is actually in care, doing really well, being well, in temporary housing through the system. Really good news there. So I was really happy to hear that. I submitted the other 2, not totally sure what was going to happen. I did have letters of support from Ukiah Police Department and the Sheriff's Office. The The judge accepted them, found prima facie review, and has ordered a report from the mental health department, the behavioral health department, to be provided by August 12th. So I'm pretty encouraged that it made it through the first step. Without that behavioral health provider certification, I had not understood that that actually wasn't required, even though the forms make it sound like it is required. So this was number 6 and 7 of the petitions submitted in Mendocino County. So still woefully short of what the state is expecting, what would be appropriate for a county of our size. By way of comparison, Humboldt County has accepted 72 CarePort petitions. So we're pretty, I mean, and they're kind of a high performer in that sense. Sonoma County is more like 30 or 40, you know, so there's various degrees of kind of proliferation of this project, but it does sound like counties are starting to find it a useful tool. Again, not everybody is going to voluntarily participate. It's not going to work for everybody. I think it's not going to work for most people. But the state is finding that when a CarePort petition is filed, even if that person doesn't end up kind of participating in the CarePort process, because there's more attention on them, they end up getting some care and some sort of solution outside of the CarePort process. So I am, encouraged by that. So again, this is the first ones I'm going to be following really closely and see what happens. So the 2 individuals that we submitted petitions for are, again, have been really struggling on the streets for a very long time, very disconnected. One of them has been in and out of jail 20 times in the last 2 years. So like very unproductive process, and they've not productively made progress yet. So that's an update on that. At the same time, as we're closing out this homeless outreach project, I have sent some very specific referrals over to the behavioral health department. Not really sure what they're going to do with them, but that's kind of just like keeping doing my due diligence to close out the project responsibly. So that's an update on that. And I'll just keep you all informed because again, the CareCort process was designed for severely mentally ill, most of whom are homeless, not all, but severely mentally ill people that are not able to succeed in the systems that are in place right now. So that's part 1. The second piece I wanted to bring up to the COC board. So I was not present at your last meeting when you had a meeting with the behavioral health department. I heard a lot about it. And the behavioral health department reached out to me afterwards as like just a county to department to department conversation. I had a really excellent conversation with Karen Lovato. And one of the topics that came up is how we can improve communication between the behavioral health department and the COC so that there's just cleaner communication and we don't reach a point that happened with this last service public feedback. And one of the suggestions that Veronica and I had that Karen was very enthusiastic about was a standing quarterly update from the behavioral health department specifically to the COC board. I didn't want to accept that kind of concept without bringing it to the board for discussion. So the concept would be that the behavioral health department would have a standing agenda item, Veronica suggesting on the membership meeting dates, which seems like a good idea, where there is a standing place to do that update. Not the Behavioral Health Advisory Board. We have the Behavioral Health Advisory Board on, and I think there's some room to talk about whether that's actually appropriate or not. I have felt like the Behavioral Health Advisory Board doesn't quite feel like the right fit for this. So I don't know, that's up to the board to decide, but I did want to leave that as a potential action item probably at the next board meeting about whether we want to include an update from the Behavioral Health Department specifically about their housing related projects. Don't really want an update about everything else. I know what you're thinking, Sage. We put this on here because it's a placeholder for this discussion, but we haven't.
It's that on there.
We've had a county update. I've done it. It's not been specific to behavioral health.
Oh.
And this would be more formal. This would be documented every quarter. I would like to have it be a written report about their housing related projects and how we can continue to collaborate with them. It is going to become, as we all know, increasingly critical that we communicate very clearly and effectively with the behavioral health department about actual clients as much as possible because the financial resources are shifting to the behavioral health department around housing. They're shifting away from other traditional service providers. That is undeniably clear. And so I think we need to really continue to hold that as an expectation and a goal for the COC to support their work, be aware of their work, not duplicate efforts, and find ways to make sure that the funding, the highest best use of all of our funding is taking place. So I'll pause there and see if there's any questions.
My brain is telling me that behavioral health and recovery services spot on our agenda has been there forever. Like it's,
No,
But it-
Veronica did it for the first time today.
I differentiated it
yeah,
on the agenda today after that conversation that the county had internally about Megan brings the social services update and then behavioral health brings theirs. Used to be, it just said County of Mendocino and then it said Megan/Karen.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it didn't actually have the I and the double I. So this was the first time, because I wanted to be able to present like there are different options on how we could make this look on our agenda. So this is one option where we get updates from local jurisdictions. We've also got a spot later in the agenda for projects. That's where the Behavioral Health Advisory Board update exists. There's also, maybe a space under announcements that we want to make a permanent spot. Like there's different ways that it could be agendized. And that was just my kind of way of carving out space if she was able to join us today. I know that Rena Ford is off. She'll be back tomorrow. So I think that having that lack of capacity within their team probably is why she wasn't able to make it today.
Is it going to be everything? I mean, if we've moved the family shelter to now a family shelter for people coming out of treatment. So that funding is CalAIM funding and not COC funding. So how will the behavioral health folks tell you how that's going?
Right, they probably wouldn't. Yeah, so
Well,
that still is a
maybe
missing
there is a
piece.
way.
Yeah,
If there is somewhere at the state where they
were they
Pull the-
communicate about that? Yeah.
they may pull together by county. And then,
But
so.
I think they probably pull that information by county. I don't know if the behavioral health department
Would have access.
is tracking that in the same way. I think,
Okay.
but I think you bring up a good point that regardless of where we frame it on the agenda or how we wherever we put it, which should be thought about intentionally, I think our request to the behavioral health department should be very clear on what we're looking for. And I was thinking about it very narrowly around their housing programs and the funding that they are in control of, which is fairly significant now from the BHSA funding, the behavioral health bridge funding. I mean, their report looked like $7 or $8 million per year. So it looks very significant. I think Karen was really clear that some of that money is already being used. Like, I can't really tell from the public documents, but I think those are the kinds of questions that we should continue to ask. I mean, I'll remind us that we do a lot of public presentation of our HAP funding, where it's going, every single contract, we do that work publicly. And I think that it's not an attempt to monitor. That's not what I'm trying to do at all. It's just to make sure there's really good, clear collaboration. So I do think we should be clear on what we're asking them to update us on. And I hadn't thought of that CalAIM piece. So we should think about that separately. But if we are making a request of the behavioral health department, I would want to be very clear about what we are hoping to be updated on every quarter. Because they do a lot of different things.
Yeah,
And I'm
there seems to be more talk about that the state will maybe monitor and control sober living environments in the future. And so
because they're willing to fund them a little bit more. Is that why?
yeah, it's so funny. They
Yeah.
came to audit us a week ago on outpatient. And they said, can we see the sober living? I said, you're here for the outpatient audit? And they're like, we kind of would like to know more
More about that.
So I think they're trying to figure out how to
I
regulate
think so.
that too. So in their mind, that's housing. So they've
Mhm.
always shoved it aside. And now I think they've been encouraged to figure it out.
Mhm.
So there's more
Yeah.
figuring out where it all finally coalesces. So we can see it. I don't know.
Is there gonna be an ongoing request for information?
Well, it's up to the COC board to decide what they want. I mean, the conversation I had with Karen was quarterly. It wasn't monthly. It was quarterly And I do, if we are gonna make that request, which she was enthusiastic about, because they have to continue to prove that they are collaborating with the COC. It will be easy for her to say they're collaborating with COC if there's a standing, quarterly, and it would be important. It's an important point of collaboration. So,
Well, folks here will have, throughout a 2-month period, folks here are gonna hear about things, experiencing things or whatever, so to have a pathway to say, hey, this next meeting's coming up and these are the things that we're interested in, rather than something that
I see, yeah.
is set up at the forefront and they're coming with the same, tick off list.
Because you're thinking some things may come up that you specifically were like, we'd like an update on this specific thing. Yeah, that makes sense.
One of the things that came up at the last meeting was just talking about having a work group possibly too, or like some sort of a touch point that's not like
Formal.
this isn't a
Yeah.
space where we can like
No.
work through how does coordinated entry work with transitional rent? How does coordinated
Totally,
entry
right.
work with all of the HSA housing pieces, and that, it's written into the plan that it will, but
Yeah.
the how that's gonna happen and anyway, that is like work group level stuff that BHS can't just figure out on their own without a touch point here. But the board meeting is not the place to
Totally
work out
agree,
those
yeah.
details, so we had
Mhm.
suggested like having a work group that can
It's a good idea.
meet and give support around the specific, there's a number of things in the BHSA plan that speak to how we're working together. That like, cool, there's a sentence in there that says we're gonna work together on blah. What does that actually look
Yeah.
like?
Mhm.
So a report out sounds great, but the actual working out of the details, it's, I think, where there's a gap.
It's a good point. Is that something that you feel like the COC should push for or lead, or is it something we're hoping the behavioral health department would reach out and develop? Because I can't totally
I would see the COC saying,
continuing to suggest that's a good idea.
like, we wanna have a standing item on the agenda for quarterly updates. We
Mhm.
also like to follow up on the things in the plan that say we're working together to do blah, blah, blah. And so we'd also like to request, we wanna request a work group, even if that just means quarterly as well, or something, just so we have a space that's, I think us suggesting it again is probably appropriate.
Would you like me to suggest that again, or should the COC chairs, like I wanted to make sure that there was sort of a lot of energy around this BHSA report. I know it was a slightly tense meeting, and so let's use that to a positive end. And Karen definitely felt that way too, like there was let's not let it end there. So I'm happy to take some direction if you would like me to continue that conversation with the department or on the COC's behalf, or what?
I think it would be great that you've already had contact in your
Okay.
county department, but to get some kind of a proof point.
Okay.
And, I also missed that meeting, I really, because I don't know why of all the departments in the county, the behavioral health seems the most invisible and least accessible. That's all what I can say. I mean, like, when people come in and I wanna, think, how do I make a referral to them that they can get access? It just seems.
Opaque a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. I do really think that Paul's idea to be able to articulate what it is we're looking for is really important versus this kind of arbitrary, mark. I think that's critical to make it useful.
Okay, so if we were super organized, the board meeting before a quarterly update, we would check in on if there's something specific or we would like behavioral health department, so then I can give them that time. So that would require some Veronica, we have to remember some agenda focus there. We have to, keep the cycle clear in our mind.
And I think we need to come up with a template with them on what's gonna be presented, so that we're all on the same page each time. And I'm wondering if we should do it in the strategic planning committee, because Karen comes to that.
Oh,
and it
that's
could
one of
be
the ones,
a
yeah.
Good conversation.
And it seems like an important thing to keep in the strategic plan, the coordination, it might end up being a strategic plan goal.
And our next meeting is August 19th. It'll be after the next board meeting, but it'll be before the next membership meeting in October.
Okay. I like that idea. And maybe, again, I don't really want to workshop the strategic plan right here in this section, but the concept of a work group could end up being an action item within the strategic plan as well. I mean, I can see that kind of fitting in to what we're talking about. Okay, so why don't I kind of continue this conversation of both the work group and the structure of a quarterly update, both through a direct conversation with Karen and also through the strategic planning committee. Does that work? Okay, and I think that's all the updates I have from Department of Social Services. I'll just say quickly, because I feel like I don't really mention it very much because it's going just pretty smoothly. Project Home Key Live Oak Apartments is fine. Everything's fine there. That's, news is good news. We've got a big waiting list. We continue to fill slots. It's all just fine. No real updates there. We just good news in our world.
We have an update from City of Ukiah.
Hi, Shannon Riley here, Deputy City Manager. Apologies for not being there in person. I think the only update I have that's relevant to this group is just an FYI that we have formally filed an appeal for our RENA assignments. So the RENA stands for Regional Housing Needs Assessment, and each 8 years a jurisdiction is assigned. We've talked about this a little bit here. The number of houses or homes that they're supposed to create in the next 8-year cycle. And so this latest allocation for our entire region is really, really, I will say, ambitious. So the county has been assigned thousands of units. No idea how they would accomplish that. The city has been assigned 1,500 units. And so I want to be super clear that we're not opposed to developing housing, and we're going to continue to develop as much as we can. But I think it may be physically impossible for us to develop 1,500 units in our existing city limits for a number of reasons. A, we're completely built out. There's very little available land. We have a municipal airport, which significantly restricts the density and height of housing. So we can't, building up everywhere isn't just the solution. You can do that in some places, but not others. But also in the last year, FEMA has, thank you, federal government, significantly increased the flood zones in Ukiah. Something like an additional 1,500 acres are now in a flood zone. Makes it very difficult to build. And then at the same time, CAL FIRE also significantly expanded their wildfire hazard severity zones, or whatever it's called, so that now a significant portion of Ukiah is also in this high severity fire severity zone. Also makes it either impossible or cost prohibitive to build. So anyway, I just wanted to let the group know that we have formal to final appeal of a formal appeal. It's probably highly unlikely that it will be successful, but we're kind of lobbying on behalf of the entire jurisdiction, county, I should say, because the methodology applied to our county is, it feels arbitrary and capricious. And the danger here is that we're heavily reliant on grants. And one of the things that state and federal governments are doing now is if jurisdictions do not meet their housing criteria, then they're being punished in other ways, particularly related to grant funding. So ironically, if we're unable to meet these goals, it could result in our continued inability to meet goals because it'll be compromising our grant funding and things like that. So anyway, in case we did report to the city council about it, so in case you hear that the city of Ukiah doesn't want to build housing, that's the backstory. We're still actively trying to build housing. And I think that's all I have.
Thank you, Shannon. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Shannon?
Thank you, Shannon, for that.
Thank you. Let's move on to the city of Fort Bragg.
No updates from the city. Chair, if I may. We have a member who has to leave early today. If we lose one person, we'll no longer have a quorum and we won't be able to make any decisions. So
Okay.
my request is that we move the standing committee report and the ad hoc committee reports to the end of the meeting.
Sure.
And then we move, and the projects, and then we move directly to board protocol and then funding, and then we'll finish the rest.
Will do.
Thanks, everybody.
Board protocols and governance. We have, some elections to deal with here.
Yeah, so, we need to do elections for, I'm gonna stop sharing the screen. Actually, people on YouTube could answer if I live stream it, but then I have to give it to Denise. And I don't know how to do that, so Denise, will you send me an email? With your choice of who you would like to nominate, who you would like to vote into place. It's these four folks are actually, sorry, I went too fast. It's really slow today. Okay, so those are, we have nominated, we have 3 seats available, all for representative board seats. Good. And nominated, we have the City of Fort Bragg Police Department, currently a board member. McCabe Karen Prevention Network, currently a board member. Mendocino Coast Hospitality Center, also a current incumbent board member. A Nation's Finest, who is new. So I'm gonna stop sharing. And then I'm gonna show. If you are on page 3 of the agenda, you can vote. You are not on page 3 of the agenda. It means you are not a COC member or general member, and according to our governance charter would not be eligible to cast a ballot.
This includes me, Veronica. I don't vote on anything else.
You can, no, you vote on this.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to vote on this. So here is a QR code on the screen. Also on your table. Pull out your phones. Do a little ballot for me. I also have paper ones for anyone who does not have the capacity. Who would like a paper one?
Veronica, just to be clear, if you're standing in for somebody, you can vote for them.
Yes, yes, Jimmy, please, please.
Jimmy.
Brady.
I was like.
Wait, city we're representing is
The
not.
organization is listed, yeah.
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 So like.
Name card.
Yes, you do, and you, yes. Yeah, Jimmy, I apologize. Denise, do you need me to send you anything? Do you need me to send you the ballot? Yes.
No, I will, send you an email. I'm working on that right now.
Perfect, thank you.
Veronica, can I help you? If my phone doesn't.
Just come over here, yeah, just come over here. Got it. It's like 3 things for.
Oh.
Oh, I completely forgot. I need to educate you guys on some stuff. Oh my God. Sorry, my brain is not working.
You already voted, and did we do it wrong?
Didn't think people would be that fast. I don't know. In your packet, on pages 8 and 9, so the last 2 pages, are information printouts from the current COC program, NOVO. It is the point section on that HUD has created for the Representative Governance Board. They're awarding points based upon how your COC board is structure or composition thereof. 4 points go to the first top one, which is at least one person with current or former experience of homelessness. That's 1 point. An additional 3 points, and remember, this is the board, not the membership. At least 3 elected public officials. We don't have that even in our categories of representatives. At first, we decided not to have elected. And then 4 points if you get at least 4 from the below, 2 points if you, 4 for all of them. 2 if you get like a majority. What a majority means, I don't know. But those are, I'm just gonna summarize them. A representative of the business community, a representative of law enforcement, a representative of recovery housing, sober living provider, representative from a behavioral health or primary health care provider, a representative of local workforce development organization, and a representative from a local court system managing assisted outpatient treatment or other specialty courts. Whatever board we have after today's election is what is going to be in the application, because it's the time of application, not before. So take what you will with it. I also included the legislation printout as page 7, which establishing a continuum of care. It gives you what the federal legislation says. That a board, the membership is paragraph A, paragraph B is the board, and paragraph C is for the Hearth Act implementation, which doesn't count anymore. So know that and cast your ballot. Apologize for the pause. We'll see where we're at. They get to vote for this. 3 of them. 9, 10 responses. I'm waiting for 1. Oh, there's 11. Okay, we got it. Okay, link to sheets. They do this weird thing because it's one question. Can we come back to this, Chair? Can we keep going and come back to this?
Sure.
We'll have an answer by the end of the next.
Yeah. So we're moving on to funding, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, let me tell you what she's doing really good.
We could go back to the committee report, or does the funding have an action? Yeah. Yeah, I probably can represent one each one A. Paul, if we.
Sorry, what's that?
If Veronica's occupied, I probably can hold on. Okay, section H, but she's back. Okay.
Okay, we're gonna go into funding. The homeless housing assistance and prevention program. The last meeting, the board gave direction in response to a round 6 RFP respondents request for funds beyond what the ad hoc committee and then the COC board had approved. They said, hey, ad hoc, you guys figure this out and let us know what you decide. And this is us letting you know what they decided. And they decided unanimously not to increase the respondents' request for funds beyond what was already approved. The membership does have the ability to override that decision if they wanted to today. I'm simply presenting the information. Anyone have questions? I've kept the agency anonymous up to this point in all public information, but the respondent
is represented today. And if they want to speak, they're welcome to at this point.
Or we can just accept the decision and move on.
Well, if there's no discussion, then, going once, going twice. It's the decision.
I will add that I'm pretty sure the provider is continuing to want to move forward, so.
I don't know, I'm waiting for a response. I have not received a response to
The
this
last
update
update.
given
Okay.
to that organization.
Number two,
Um,
do that.
I also wanted to share that HAP Round 7 was approved in the California state budget for 26-27 at 900 million. It is gonna be an expansion of HAP Round 6 because there's always two distributions, there's two payments. There's the first one where you have to meet certain criteria. And then if you get at least 50% of that encumbered or contracted and spend at least 25% of HAP Round 6, then we'll get HAP Round 7 initial distribution. Gonna look on paper as HAP Round 6 distribution number 3. And then there will be a HAP Round 6 distribution number 4. This prevents us from having to do another application. It's just a tacking on more money to the existing application that we most recently submitted. And it's the most expeditious way for the state to get the money out and to help us continue with those plans. But that also means that this funding will continue to have the same restrictions that it first has to fund emergency shelter or interim housing interventions, which we mostly think of as emergency shelter, but technically transitional housing and other things would be considered in that. And then once that budget is solid and we've met all of that, then we can consider using it for permanent housing. But we're not there in this community until we evaluate more along how it's progressing and where we're at, like maybe in a year.
It's ultimately good news, though. We don't have to do a new application. We don't have to do another community stakeholder process. And some of it's kind of interesting, some of the compliance pieces around having like a housing, what is it called? Not housing, having a pro housing designation is limited to some larger cities. So there does seem to be like there's a little bit of understanding about rural communities and our ability to.
That was a hard advocacy by the National Alliance to End Homelessness, because there were a lot of rural communities who were like, we will lose this funding.
Yeah.
So there's 14 large cities, and the counties in which those cities exist are required to have a pro-housing designation or a plan to get it. And they have a 35% match requirement.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Match. We do not. We don't have either. Yeah.
These are comments about that. Now we'll move on to, COC funding.
Before that, I want to move back. We have our outcomes. The 3 identified agencies are Mendocino Coast Hospitality Center with 3, McCavan Care and Prevention Network with 11, and City of Fort Bragg Police Department with 10. 13?
You said,
The 13, I don't know. Hospitality Center was 13. We want to try to know how to speak on my brain. They're questioning it.
It's true.
Thank you, Casey. Okay. Okay, this one. Okay. Any other questions on that? We're done. We're going back to COC. Okay. This is another one where we may need to take action, but you might just be like, do it, we don't want to vote on it. It's totally up to you guys. I put it on here to see what you want to do. But before I get into that, there are currently 3 funding competitions available under the COC umbrella. The first one is the fiscal year 2026 COC Builds NOFO. Applications are due this week on July 23rd. And we have not received any requests to do an application. I haven't seen any applications in eSnaps, no local, haven't heard anything from RCHDC, Danco, or any of our other developers. So we're moving forward as if we're not submitting a request for that funding. The second one is the fiscal years 24 and 25 Youth Homelessness NOFO, which is a combination of, Amanda, I might need your help, YHSI, Youth Homeless Services Intervention.
It's intervention and then it's the.
And then the YHDP, which is Youth Homeless Demonstration Program. They did a combined NOFO for those 2 years worth of funding that never got rolled out. So they have 2 budget years of funding sitting there that they need to get out for youth programs. I have not received any requests to partner on an application. Applicants are able to apply directly. They don't have to go through the COC on that one. If they want to, I can do a collaborative application with them attached to it. I've reached out to folks. I haven't had any acceptance of that offer to assist. So as far as I can tell at this point, our community won't be requesting funding on that, under that one as well. Now the big one. Our annual competition that we are responding to, the fiscal year 2026 COC program competition and youth homelessness demonstration program for renewal projects, not new projects, which we don't have any, so it's only COC for us. NOFO applications are due to HUD on August 26th. We have a local ad hoc committee that has met and created a timeline and published local competition guidelines. In that timeline, local applications are due by Wednesday, July 22nd, so that then I have a few days to determine if they meet the minimum threshold criteria in the NOFO. I let them know, yes, they're going to be submitted for rate or rank, or no, I'm sorry, you don't qualify because maybe you're a for-profit organization and you don't qualify to HUD. And then the committee has to read the responses received and then rate and rank them. The chair has approved calling a special COC board meeting on Monday, July 10th. Monday, August 10th, excuse me, specifically only for receiving the rate and ranking, because the results of the rating and ranking and who the COC is going to submit applications for projects in their collaborative application has to be communicated to all project applicants at least 15 days before August 26th. So that's August 11th. Our next board meeting isn't until like the 17th or something. So we have to call a special COC board meeting on the 10th. At this time, the application in eSnaps doesn't exist. At this time, we have no application to complete. We have no guidance on how to interpret the NOFO and actually write answers. That includes the collaborative application, which usually takes me at least 2 months to do. I'm gonna have like 2 weeks to do it. What I'm bringing to you guys at this point is, if our local application requires the eSnaps application to be included, Because that's where the budget is, and we didn't want to have them write out the budget twice, so just give us what you told HUD and then give us these few extra questions. Well, since we don't have what HUD is gonna ask for, we're gonna have to expand what our local rating and ranking is. Or we postpone the deadline. Or come up with something I haven't even considered.
Remind me what the current deadline to the COC is?
July 22nd, this Wednesday, day after tomorrow.
And they don't even have the application.
They don't even have the application.
And right now, our guidelines say that on the a complete application that they submit by the 22nd
Yeah.
includes the eSNAP subject.
Yes.
So we can't,
It's had stomaching its existence.
Wouldn't they just like push that forward?
they're definitely going to,
Like,
probably.
yeah, there's
but-
like, yeah.
So
But they haven't yet.
I spoke with Chris Pitcher with ICF last week, just because I was having a little meltdown. And he said he had meetings with their SNAPS office this week that got canceled because they're getting trained on how to write the instructions and how to create eSNAPs.
So I'm feeling better already.
So the staff that we do know and knows what they're doing, they
They're
don't
not
know.
working on
They
this.
haven't got the direction because they haven't been able to do anything. So
It does seem likely that the timelines will be changed, but we still have the challenge of our current published instructions. Tell people to submit.
timelines gonna change.
Can I ask a question? So we're asking for the applicants to turn in to the COC by the 22nd. What exactly are they supposed to turn in on the 22nd?
Yeah, if there's nothing.
And even if we say we're not requiring an eSNAPs application,
I know, what are they supposed to?
what are they supposed to turn in?
So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. Because it's a conundrum that I don't know how they're gonna answer. We only have one applicant that I know of, and that's our renewal applicant, CDC. The only thing that's in the eSNAPs application that we don't have anywhere else is the budget. So my request is that you all approve changing our local policies to no longer require the eSNAPs application for rating and ranking and provide a very simple budget template based on HUD, and I've done the research and I have it. I could even bring it up if you wanted me to request the budget and edit it that way.
So Veronica, then if I understand, you're saying that budget will give us the information that we would need to feel comfortable about doing rating and ranking.
We could complete the rating and ranking if we had the budget. The budget's the only thing that's not on that sheet, that the rating and ranking that we need to do.
And I think, originally we were requiring the eSNAP application ready to go. It was sort of a gift to them. They would have it done well in advance and would help us all make sure it's competitive. But if they can't do it, that's not fair. Right?
So would we need a motion to do the thing? I would move to take it or revise our policies so that to not require eSNAPs applications for the
And-
rating and ranking.
and submit a simple budget.
A simple budget. To deal with HUD's sabotage.
Yeah, you want to put that in your
Yes.
motion, the language of the motion.
Sure.
That's the call thing, I think.
I just had
Once a second.
one question. How this stuff always works, it's like, we're gonna do this today. How do you have to notify, who do you have to notify, and is there gonna be some technicality that?
I'm gonna go back to my desk after this, and I'm gonna update policy and procedure to strike the eSNAPs application. And then I'm gonna add another line item that says, provide the budget template that is included as appendix, whatever it is at the end. And then I'm gonna email it out to everyone that I've submitted it to before with the update and the budget template. Then I'm gonna update the website to include both of those things, the revised policies and the budget template. And so that way folks can submit applications on Wednesday with what they've already been writing, and just a budget that should be pretty easy for them.
Alright,
And it's the budget that's in eSnaps. It's a normal HUD form, so I would do the federal.
Under the
way
wage,
to do it,
yeah.
Choose that.
we had a motion and a second, right? Is there any other discussion about this? Take a vote.
My computer went to sleep. Sorry. Okay, when I call your name, please say yes, no, or abstain to the motion on the table. Amanda. Brady,
Yes.
Denise,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Grace,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Joanne, Sage,
Yes.
Joanna,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Teresa.
Same.
Good job. Motion approved. Thank you, Max. So we'll have a special board meeting on August 10th with whatever applications we receive. For the
It's the 10th.
that I can't change the time.
Is
Yeah.
there gonna be enough time then to like actually get it into these maps that may or may not exist?
It should be.
And
It may not exist, so it might not be.
Allegedly so.
Thank you for saying so.
We all the way done with that section?
I think so, yeah. I think we
We're gonna go back to, didn't call, if there were any other updates from any other jurisdictions. Okay, then we're gonna move on to standing committee reports, starting with strategic planning.
I'm gonna defer to Megan, even though it says me.
Our next meeting is gonna be August 19th. My goal, which I will meet, is that we will have it might be a little bit rough, but we'll have a pretty rough draft of a strategic plan for the committee to review.
Shelter and solution.
We had a pretty good robust meeting last time. We just met this last week. Our next meeting will be on September 9th. We talked about a lot of the things we've already updated you guys on. Judy, is there anything, Judy or Amanda, is there anything that, yeah, go ahead.
I wasn't there, but I read the minutes and I had a question that I think you already were probably working on about the HAP applications and what's happening for the contracts. I saw that it was mentioned in the minutes that they were like in process.
Yes, so we've got the two that are existing projects that are ongoing, that needed continuing funding, are either approved by the Board of Supervisors or will be presented tomorrow. We have two that are existing projects but don't need immediate funding that I'll be working on last. Two new projects, including with the youth project that I'm actively trying to get written out and out to you guys.
No, it's no pressure other than trying to strategize when I'm going to be hiring and all those things. And my understanding as Board of Supervisors is on recess in August, right? Is that deal?
Yes.
And so my question would be, do we have any information on whether, I know we have a Board of Supervisors doesn't love retroactive contracts, so it makes sense.
I think in this case, when you work out the contract negotiation, you can set a start date that makes sense and that they'll approve a retroactive one. I mean, they've been not so excited about retroactive that are like a year late, you know, but not when they're kind of actively being worked on. And this one has already gone through an RFP process, so it's sort of.
Okay, so that is so helpful, because then I'll just start doing the thing. Thank you for that. Don't even say sorry. I saw that under your breath. Don't say sorry.
Coordinated entry and discharge planning.
Our next meeting will be on August 5th at 10:30 a.m. And we are looking at changing the day and time of that meeting again. We thought the first Wednesday morning would work, but it's not. So we're going to try to have a quorum and figure out a better day and time for that. We have a coordinated entry process flow evaluation from NetBank. It was presented to the coordinated entry management team on Friday. And it's been provided to our front door directors who are reviewing it and are going to provide feedback. We're going to revise. So there's some feedback in there that's specific about specific users or specific organizations that is important for us to know in the background. That's not necessarily needs to be made publicly available. And so there'll be some additional edits to that before it's publicly available. I'm hoping for our August 5th meeting, we will have something to present to them. That document will be used to inform the community feedback session we've been talking about for a while now. And once that has been completed, we're going to take it all and build our new prioritization. That's where we're at.
Accountability.
It's not that our chair hasn't been in contact, so I don't know what to do with this committee. You can either create a new chair or
Where policies are on that.
no. It's up to each committee to decide.
We do have policies around attendance, and I think, I don't know if you were gonna address that at separate item.
Next very thing, next.
Yeah, so let's skip to the membership committee and then maybe that might help inform. Some of the decision.
Which means collaborative has been meeting in collaboration with the Community Accountability Committee. So membership committee, I'm going to start with welcoming our new member. Grace Peeler has returned to us as the executive director for Mendocino Coast Children's Fund. And so our recruitment efforts for new members was successful this year, and at least one. We always get one or two. Last year we got WSAG. This year we've got Children's Fund. So I think we're doing good on that front. But do you want to say anything, Grace?
It's good to be back. So,
Good to see you.
yeah. Excited.
But so we have a COC board member, and we have at least one, maybe two, like integral organizations in our community that are general members that have missed 3 or more consecutive meetings, which is what our policy says folks get moved to advisory status. Before I did that, I wanted to bring it to folks to see how they want to approach that, especially when it's a board member. Our policies our charter is silent on if it says a general member that misses 3 general quarterly meetings consecutively can be moved to advisory status. Doesn't mean it shall, doesn't mean it's automatic. Somebody's got to make a decision about that. And what to do if it's a board member.
How, is there any guidance in there about, in the policies around communication expectations, or like, has the COC reached out to the board member? I'm not asking for the specifics because I don't want to get into the details about a individual's life or what we've done there, but in terms of policy around, like, does the board have a responsibility to have reached out to that person, to a board member or general member before making a decision?
I think our policies don't state that, like, it doesn't say if somebody's missed 3 meetings, then the chair emails them, like, we didn't really list that out.
It's not.
So that's why we don't really have the process here.
I'd want to know, I guess I like more I don't know if it makes a difference or not, if the person has like, I'm missing this meeting and I know I've missed 3 and this.
I mean, I do feel like-
going on, and I
Yeah.
really do intend on coming back. Like,
I think it slightly does matter a little bit, but maybe you're right, maybe it
but I
doesn't.
don't necessarily want
Yeah.
to put those things on blast out in a public meeting,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm.
So I don't know.
Just gently bringing it up right now.
Yeah.
It's a thing. What do you want me to do?
Right.
But then I don't know how the board would get the information to be able to then advise it, unless we have a private session.
Or the membership committee is told to discuss it.
Yeah, but it also seems to me that a board member knows how to access people at the COC.
This is true.
So, and we're all kind of grown-ups here, so that we would then notify them why we have been missing 3 meetings.
Right.
Not that we have to do,
The reaching out.
here has to do the outreach to the board member, you know.
Are the lived experience folks board members or general members?
We have
Well,
one
they're-
most experienced
So
board.
I actually think that, as a general policy, then it might be good to reach out. I know my experience with folks, it can be hard to re-engage for reasons that people might feel. I mean, I don't know, re-engaging can be hard, if you feel like there might be some judgment engagement, so,
Mhm. You mean if you've
yeah,
missed a lot and you're kind of want to come back, but you feel awkward?
yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly. So that's just another consideration. If you're connected with an agency, it's a little bit easier, I would
Mhm.
imagine. Yeah.
To have that expectation of like, you know, you're on board, like, yeah.
With the general members, it seems a little like, if they're general members for, with an agency, missing 3 membership meetings is almost a year of
Yeah.
non-participation.
There's one agency we haven't seen since last April.
So, I mean, those are like, yes.
It felt like with those, we just kind of did a quiet year advisory member. It wasn't a big deal. Like they could re-engage at any time, but that was important because otherwise we end up with quorum problems. And we've done such good work in shrinking our board to avoid that. And like, I just don't want to lose that.
Yeah.
It made a big difference to be able to do that. So,
I would.
I think you're right. There's a little bit different in moving a general member to advisory, just quietly moving into advisory status. The board members is a little trickier.
I would feel comfortable with like, let's send an email to board member and say, we are looking at next steps, but want to give you the opportunity to chime in if you have any input about.
What's also nice is maybe the board member would say, I know, I'm really sorry. I need to step down from my board member seat and
Yeah.
just leave it rather than be like, booted out. It's different because they may be like, I can't do this, obviously, or whatever.
And then any general members that have missed 3 or more, I should just email them. Sorry, you've been moved to advisory status. Next time you come, if you want to update it, you're welcome to.
So it sounds like the direction to Veronica is to notify the general members that they're being moved to advisory status and let us know if you have something to say about that. And to the board member to reach out and say, you've missed a certain number of meetings. Unless we hear from you at the next board meeting, and do you think the board has to take action to? Or,
I think
I
it's
know,
the general membership that has to, because they're the ones, you
Oh,
guys are the ones
oh.
that actually elect the board to represent you.
oh, I see.
And so for the board to make a decision on a fellow member is kind of weird.
Although
So
we didn't, as Sage pointed out, we didn't really list out what the process was. We just said they will no longer be, we didn't say the board has to take action to remove them or anything. We just kind of,
Well, and in order to be a board member, you have to be a general member, right?
yes.
So if we're following our policies, which is if you've been.
Except for the general members need to come to the membership meetings, not meetings, right? So the
Right.
board meeting members are expected to come to
monthly meeting.
monthly meetings.
Yes, and so then I think we need to look at, as that board member missed 3 membership meetings to don't qualify as a general member.
That's 9 months. That could be really long.
I know. This is a flag of policy, not leading to me.
Anytime we've had a board member that wasn't coming and I reached out and I was like, hey, what's going on? They're like, and I say, like, you can either come or you can just let me know now if you need to resign. they always resign.
Yeah.
Let's start there, just see what.
So
they're-
that's what I'm kind of thinking, that we might just have a vacancy and we might have to call a special vote for that one. So
So that's a good idea. I mean, we should give them the opportunity to resign anyway first, because then we don't have to do a complicated thing.
right.
So.
And if then I don't hear anything, then we might have to come up with a complicated thing.
Okay, then the directions for you to reach out to all of, tell the gender members we're shifting them to advisory status.
Yep.
And the board member, hey, would you like, what's going on? Would you like to resign? Okay.
All right.
So I want to start this, and usually this is earlier in the meeting, so I usually would have already done this, but I also want to welcome Casey O'Neill. She has joined the special projects team as a senior program specialist who is taking on the role of our lead HMIS system administrator. So welcome, Casey. She's already doing all kinds of training, diving into our data management, data quality management plan, DQMP. And so we're making progress that we haven't been able to make before. So we're really excited. We are actively updating the data completeness report and the Nutmeg data quality scorecard, so that it actually provides the information in a digestible way for our HMIS participating agencies. The scorecard was really built for HUD reporting preparation, not end user data quality improvement guidance. And so Nutmeg is revising that, and they've got a lot of programming updates done. Paul and Tashika are gonna review those later this week with their development team. And so I'm hoping next Tuesday I'll get an update from them. And the data completeness report, Paul Schmitz has basically just copied WellSky's report and is taking out gender and replacing it with sex, which is a new data element. And so that way we have a little bit of visibility on who needs to have that updated. And so we're working on those, and that's why you don't have a report this time. But I'm happy to provide any information at any given time to folks. And you can also create an account on the HUD HDX account and go into Stella and look at stuff. Sage and Paul are both users, so they could go in and look at performance and things at any point. So anyone is welcome to do that. You can just shoot any of us through an email and we'll help you with that. Comments on that before I go on? And then, as I mentioned, our data quality management plan, we're really taking a lot of time to work on that. And that Casey has some really great ideas that she's bringing in on ways that to make it more useful and engaging, as opposed to just, if this happens, do that. So I think it's going well.
Thanks, Veronica. Are there any questions or comments about measurement committee? We'll move on to ad hoc committee reports.
I think we can go ahead and disband the RFP number 0042 states. They made their final recommendations, and I think we can go ahead and disband it.
It's
Thank you to the members who participated. There were a few that were new this year, and I shout out to you. Thank you for participating in the RFP.
And Joanna will have to leave.
Yeah, it was helpful.
And then I have given the COC competition funding update earlier. that was later in the agenda, so I think we're good on that one.
Alright, well, that covered the whole plan.
The project updates.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh, project update, sorry.
That's it, yeah.
Reentry collaborative.
Yes, I didn't attend this last month's Reentry Collaborative, but my partner Hannah did and provided me an update. Adventist Health Ukiah Valley presented their project restoration Mendocino, the respite housing that I believe is in Willits. It's a 10-bed, low barrier recuperative care facility. Bed placement is dependent on medical necessity. Somebody who is currently experiencing homelessness or housing instability and have Medi-Cal. And it seems like it's a pretty intensive referral process that involves a lot of medical understanding. So mostly it would be like a hospital providing that referral, but they do accept referrals from other agencies, but you would have to coordinate with that person's medical team.
So I remember Faith saying that the project at the top of the hill
Yeah, same one. Project restoration.
is White Deer Lodge no longer the site, or it got resurrected? It is the site, you think?
Pretty sure
I
it's still the same
believe it's the
site.
same site. They had a permitting issue.
Oh, and it got resolved?
I believe it's been resolved.
Oh, good.
They're taking referrals.
They're not open yet. They're not reopened yet.
But the project is no longer stalled, it's back on.
Correct.
Moving.
They
Okay,
have a
great.
timeline, but she didn't know the exact date during. So they're accepting referrals.
I believe so. Or they're starting that process.
Yeah.
I think there are accepting referrals for housing, because there's a housing navigator, sorry.
No, please, I wasn't there.
And I wasn't told what the official date that they're gonna be opening. But if they said that referrals are going through, then I guess they're going through, I don't know when they're gonna, or what their process. Cause they work alongside of us with Compass Street Medicine, but we're not part of them, if that makes sense. So if there's any questions, you can contact me, Jimmy, with, and I can get you to the right people.
Great.
With Faith, because Faith is out of the office for the week. So I'm Faith right now.
And Tina Ruida is
Yes.
the housing navigator who receives those referrals. So we can reach out to Tina, Rueda.
Yes.
Great.
And Ronnie Duncan. Ronnie Duncan is she's the Faith. She's over there. But I did hear that they were gonna be opening soon, and like I said, if there's any issues with the referral process, because I'm kind of helping them with the referral process, showing them how I do it with Compass Street Medicine. And yeah, we'll be working together to make it an easy process.
And I know the primary benefit that's supporting this is the CalAIM the communities work term recuperative care. Recuperative care?
Hospitalization.
No, it's the short-term post-hospitalization housing. Yeah, that's what they're using. Understand. It's mostly for people who are getting out of the hospital.
Totally, but recuperative care has a higher reimbursement rate, and it doesn't make sense to me why places that meet the recuperative care criteria are not taking that.
They are, and Tina's saying that's right.
And then leaving the STPHH for organizations that don't meet the, sorry. This is my life.
Well, I did understand, I mean, we're going off topic a little bit, but it sounds like that, and I was wondering about this for you, Sage, the short-term post-hospitalization support is ending June 26th as a benefit. You should pay attention to that. Yes.
It is.
Yes,
It's ending when?
June 26th.
Of next year? Of next year?
Sorry,
July.
December 31st, 26. So as of January 21st, 2027, that community support will no longer be available.
I don't think so.
Just look.
Don't think so, but I'll check.
Read the announcement that was today, and it was previewed a little while ago. I was surprised.
You're gonna maybe
That.
DHCS is,
Okay.
yeah, and then they came out today as well, another kind of reiteration of that.
Well, that's gonna present a problem for discharges from the hospital to motel shelter then.
Definitely.
Or shelter.
Yeah, it seems, it was again surprising to me and maybe they'll change their mind, but that's what, it was pretty clear.
That's half of our funding for our shelter and is from that.
I'm sorry, I thought you knew, or you knew that was on the table. So I guess what you're saying,
I
I
knew
think
that there's some that were cut, but when I looked at them, it was like, okay. Not as our community really leverages a whole lot as much, so. Okay, I'm not good.
and I would reach out to partnership and confirm with them as well, what they're thinking. Sorry, that was a derailment from your.
It's
report.
okay,
Yeah.
that's all I have.
Okay.
Is this an item to keep on our agenda when it doesn't, we're not, I just, without formalizing a better connection, it seems silly to just keep saying it.
We talking about the behavioral health advisory board?
Yeah.
That's partly what I was thinking, if we replace this with an update from the behavioral health department, because it felt to me, I might be making this up, but I felt like the people who are supposed to be reporting back didn't quite feel empowered to do so, or that it was appropriate to do so.
Like Karen does not, it's not.
The Behavioral Health Advisory Board is largely specialty mental health.
It's not really housing-ish.
It is not housing.
And maybe
You
we had it
know,
on there for.
BHSA will go there and do some reports when there's something to say about placing that. So.
I agree. It's just been months of who's doing this report and what are we doing with it? So why don't we just take it off?
There's no motion, I don't know if there was ever a motion to put it on. Yeah.
I think it might have been added and Brandon, we might stopped being able to attend.
Yeah, it felt to me like an initial effort to try to build the connection with behavioral health, but it wasn't quite the right fit. It still sounds like it's not quite the right fit, so I'm fine with taking it off.
Megan, you said that when they do come to report, which would be quarterly, right? It will be housing related.
And that was the intention, yes.
Okay. They know that,
Yes. I think we have to.
Advisory board then. Behavioral health.
Department.
Yeah, it's like those are two separate things. Right. What would we be wanting the advisory board to be reporting or giving us an update on anyway?
I think when we put it on here, we thought it was the right connection, but I actually don't think it is.
It's not.
Right, that's what everyone keeps saying. So it seems like it would make sense to not have that as a. I mean, the reentry collaborative does feel more, it feels like there's often things related to housing or related to discharge of people who are gonna be discharged into homelessness, so it felt a little bit of a stronger connection. But I don't think they'd give help. I would say like Veronica.
Useful thing.
Right, I would say Veronica can communicate with the chair, and if they agree that it doesn't make sense to keep on the agenda, we won't, but I don't think it requires a board action.
What do you think, Denise? You're a member of the advisory board.
Well, seeing as how we're not discussing housing much, I don't think it's appropriate for us to be, on the agenda. I suppose that if we did discuss housing, we could ask to be on the agenda.
And it's been stated before at BHAB, that housing is not what. So like, for example, the youth project does behavioral health and housing. And usually I report out on housing, but that stated that's not what they're wanting there. So I feel like BHAB is not probably the right thing.
I think it will be just a smidge, but just because of the changes, but only in what will just be some sort of report from somebody here and there. I don't think it's.
And it's accessible, I mean, it's public, so if people wanna know what's going on with BHAB, that it's all
They won't be getting into any of the details that we care about.
Yeah, exactly.
So, remove it.
Remove it. Alright. Nothing else,
The next meeting is not a full membership meeting, it's a board meeting. I always get this adjourned, there's always something wrong with it. But we'll have a special meeting on August 10th. That's informative.
Yeah.
That's the.
That's good.
I don't. I want to get ordered before